So what caused the decline of Atlantis? You've got ancient lakes sitting right up above there that just flew right over everything. And we have the sand striations to prove it. I believe that what happened was the waterways that separated this from the ocean filled with sand. These islands are coming and going. There was an ancient map I showed earlier where one of the islands just disappeared. There was a big island here. Where'd it go? And you don't see it under here. I mean, we see a little bit of texture here, but this is just flat. What happened to the island that was here? Well, it was part of the sand, and it eventually flattened out. Hello, everyone. The cataclysmic destruction evidence that could have destroyed Atlantis. Are you looking for answers to the past? Are you looking to liberate yourself from modern oppression of history and understanding? The destruction of Atlantis could have happened in 1 second, proven by the string of pearls impact event which occurred with a broken up comet on the planet of Jupiter. Each impact was the size of our planet Earth, and we have evidence of this type of impact. The string of pearls event is when a comet went around the sun and broke up just like Comet Ison did, and I've got images of that on my other old videos. They've got photographic evidence of these things, and the actual impact occurred. That's the plume. It's bigger than planet Earth. So if those had hit Earth, we probably wouldn't be here right now. There's the bruise that was left, just the dot alone, size of planet Earth. Hubble Space Telescope took this picture. There were about 20 pieces. This is the G impact. Here's an actual from Earth picture of the impact of Jupiter. Jupiter acted like a magnet and pulled the comets towards them, called it the destroyer of comets. It actually magnetically pulled those things. We do have two types of cataclysmic destruction evidence. The heat scorched erosion, which appears on the pyramid and in a lot of other megalithic structures, as Brian Forrester showed in his video, exists, and it's pretty cut and dry. You can see the damage. Now, was this through a comet or through an impact? And when I say comet, I mean like it's the comet tail hit the Earth, or a CME from the sun. These ancient artifacts are much older than just a couple thousand years old. These things don't get damaged like this from things that happened in the last 2,000 years. Scientists are warning that we are due for an extinction level event right now. We have had extinction events in the past. The one that did the 13,000 years ago is not on this chart. We do have new evidence. Here, this massive crater found in Greenland. The mammoths were not above the 13,000-year-old boundary line that's found here. In this article, this is 2007. Okay, this is not new information. Take a look at that. This geologist, there's a couple of things that also can prove it temperature-wise. So take a look at these articles yourself and see. This is the Greenland Craters. I've heard some videos that say we shouldn't jump to conclusions about this. I'm just going to give you the information and you can take a look at it yourself. Younger Dryas event. This chart, I don't really like this chart. I like this chart better because it shows a little bit more clearly when the cooling happened and the warming as well. As you can see by this Younger Dryas boundary field, it's pretty close. Technically, it's not really showing on Mauritania. It doesn't cover that spot. However, it's so close that any actual event would have affected a nearby outline. This is the KT boundary. You can see another boundary right below that. Some of the other proof here is the actual types of things that have been found in these black mats. Nanodiamonds, metallic microspherules, carbon spherules, magnetic spherules, iridium, platinum. I do like to use this alibi. I call this the mainstream media understanding, and even in this video you can see the outlines changing from some event. Here we see, I don't really agree with it. I'm just saying that we have some evidence in mainstream history that shows it doesn't do anything to the Mauritania area, but how can that even be? We've had just no history that recorded it. Take a look at North America. You can see the previous sea levels, and as we go through you can see them change. You also can see population moving through Africa too, but take a look at first. It's the okay, we're going to move through here. We're going to get to right here, right there, right here. That's 18,000 years ago. 20,000, 18,000. Ask the mainstream historians why that happened. And then more over on the east side, let's go back, there you go, 18,000, 17,000. 12,000 years ago, maybe that was Atlantis' finish, but maybe that was done before that, about 20,000 years ago. So what caused the decline of Atlantis? Perhaps it was a crater 20,000 to 9,000 years ago. And what could have triggered this sea to go over the Atlantis? Well, just 200 kilometers away is the Tinamur crater. It's right here. It's located in that big, huge bedrock mountain that I showed you. And it's located just 225 kilometers north of the Richat structure. Seeing that this is all located on a ley line of energy throughout the Earth, especially the same one that all these other megalithic structures are laid across, perhaps our previous equator, the Maghreb Sea and that Tinamur crater definitely could have been triggered in some type of incident, and that's why you see these sand striations going on both sides of it. And when that Tinamur crater went off right there on this big hard piece of bedrock, that ancient lake just flew right down the Taman-Seret River basin on both sides directly towards the eye of the Sahara onto the ocean. And you can see that all these striations start here. Give you a couple of different views of those sand striations. They don't come down here. They start right up here and go straight down. So maybe there was more ancient lake there too. But what do you see here? You see a grain. You see the grain of stone, of rock. You see grains going this way. And you can see sand going across it here. And you can see sand going across it there. It's like a big old slab of concrete. It's bedrock. This is bedrock. But here you see the sand. That's not bedrock. That's not bedrock. This is the sand coming across Mauritania. And when you zoom in on it, you can see the striations of time, wind, but also perhaps water. Water that was over 100 feet high, moving across. But what you see here, you see this little tiny bit separating flowing sand. Where's the sand coming from? It's coming from up here. Now, some people think that this crater, it's just located 200 miles away from, there we go, Tinamur crater. It's just located 200 kilometers away from the eye of the Sahara. But look, the sand's coming from up here. The sand's coming from way over here. It moved from way over here. Cape Blanco, Cape Miric, very important because those are the two river outlets that I want to talk about. And you can see them here and here and here as well. There's Cape Verde down there, so the Senegal River, but up above you can see these two ancient river outlets that are non-existent today. Now these maps are after Atlantis, but what they are showing is certain rivers coming out just south of the Atlas Mountains, and even a lake that's north of the Hodeni village here. This is where you can find other proof that there's a village after Atlantis in the Richat structure. 1584, look at all those polywog-shaped lakes that were just south of the Atlas Mountains. Hoden is here, so you've got lakes just above this area here. The Taman-Seret River Basin, that is coming right out north of Cape Miric and south of Cape Blanco, if you see. That's the big outlet. When you look at the Richat structure, you can see that things that pass on the north side of it would come out there, and things that pass on the south side of it would come out below Cape Miric. In fact, I don't think that this coast has changed much in the last 20,000 years, and nor does mainstream science. That Maghreb Sea right there, the alignment of that, you can see where that Maghreb Sea would have fallen inside this area that's lower than the other areas. The Maghreb Sea was located there, and its correlation to the Richat structure is very clear. In fact, the rivers line right up. So did this get washed away? I think so, but if you know, it's not full of sand now. So this ridge literally protected this whole area from filling with sand. The sand came this way, but it didn't go over this mountain. This mountain's too high for that. Just lots of water moving and lots of sand moving at the same time. You move in here, you can see the striations stop right about here, and then it gets back over to some non-striated area. This is a little different, right? It does look like it was full of water. I mean, that's not wind, not that consistency. Wind creates dunes. Those aren't really dunes, those are ripples. The striations stop right about here, so you can see that there was movement. And I'm not even saying that what we're seeing now is what took down Atlantis. Sand. Okay, that's it. Have a good day. Thank you.